of the time for the last decade. And if you can just be patient, wait for the setup, take the setup, and only make that your trade or the only trade that you take, I would say it's virtually impossible to fail because the trade continues to work. Some of the trades are short-lived. Some of the trades happen quickly. Some of the trades take a while to develop. But the profit comes at some point, and then your job is to take that profit. So as I pride myself in, when I first got started in the business and started running chat rooms and whatnot and doing this commentary and trying to help people, I always prided myself in doing it for free for at least a couple of weeks. And that's still the way we're running this, right? So I'm looking to try to show you that I know what I'm doing. And again, this trade that I talk about that works all the time, it's fantastic. But that is just a part of what we do. We're a education seminar on a daily basis. You're getting 2 hours, 4 hours, sometimes 6, sometimes 8, sometimes 12 hours of live commentary of educated, informed market discussions. And when I used to come from a place of webinars and seminars and symposiums. And there was 1 year where I was doing a show for something called the Day Traders Expo. And it was $499, and I would go for 2 hours, an hour and 20 minutes of basically me showing charts and explaining what I like, and then 40 minutes of Q&A, and I would get paid $400. We do that every day for basically 8 hours here. And what's great about what we do here is that not only are we giving you good ideas, we're explaining to you why they're good ideas. And more importantly, if the idea that we think is a good idea turns into a bad idea, where you get the hell out of that bad idea before it gets worse. And we had an example of that today because, and again, I don't want to, I'm not making fun of anybody and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, but somebody thought shorting A&F might have been a decent idea at one point. And I quickly said, please do not be on the other side of the trade that I'm in long, because you're on the other side of a trade that hasn't failed us in 3 years. And he was shorting it up here. And he promptly said, oh, let me get the hell out of the way. And luckily got out of the way without any real damage. And the stock proceeded to go up another 3 points. What you're looking at here, my friend, is the trade that hasn't failed in 3 years. So the reason I'm not showing you my lovely face is I'm in the middle of having my breakfast, because most of this day is in hand. And, I love it when it's over by 11. Usually we've been getting great activity till about 12. But the bottom line is we tell the market. Oh, I'm sorry. I was about to say we tell the market something. The market tells us what we're doing. We come in with our ideas, what we think may or may not happen, and then we allow the market to either confirm or deny what we believe, because what we believe doesn't count. What we think doesn't matter. It's what is happening. And that's how we trade here, because we are traders. And traders who make money during the day understand that we are slaves to the market. We're not trying to fight the market. And we're certainly not trying to beat the market. We are trying to be the market. And how do you be the market? Volume weighted average price, VWAP, blue line and orange line. And let me show you how clean and wonderful. If you saw my presentation yesterday, here it is again. There is nothing on this chart other than blue and an orange line and candlesticks, right? So this is Abercrombie and Fitch, A&F, right? You guys following? Because I'll talk slower. I'm going to make sure everybody's paying attention. Hold on a sec. All right. Just waiting for some of my YouTube friends to show up. You guys know what I'm talking about. Shout out to the YouTube guy. Hey, by the way, YouTube guy that made fun of me for the last 8 years about how the market never goes down. How you feeling? We're still waiting for that crash? It's a little bear market humor right there. By the way, if you haven't noticed, the market doesn't go down anymore. And that's been one of our favorite trades, just victimizing my old self. And yeah, I've taken some shorts intraday, and I'm promptly get out of them for small losses. I keep testing the waters. Trust me, it doesn't work. One day a month, you get this little sell-off that actually you can get paid on. The last one was last Wednesday. It was fantastic. And it only lasted an hour and 20 minutes. So if anybody's delusional enough to think that we're actually going to go into a bear market, recessions don't matter anymore, valuation doesn't matter anymore. A lot of what you think matters in the market absolutely doesn't matter anymore. And I'm not saying this time is different. It's just right now, nobody cares about what they used to care about. Valuations, seasonality, dash for trash, overvalue. Everything's clicking right now because the money is everywhere and everybody wants to be a trader and everybody wants to be part of the greatest casino ever created in the history of mankind. And I think everyone's just jealous that they missed Bitcoin and they're just trying to find any way they could catch up to what that provided over the last 10 years. And by the way, if you haven't heard, Bitcoin now and has been the number one wealth creation vehicle in the history of mankind. Pretty incredible. But as my wife would say, what are you going to do about it now? Right. What are you going to do about it now? Well, what we can do is just keep taking a trade that works over and over again. And let me give you some, little insight into what it does. And by the way, a little distracting today because I'm loaded up on this RR stock. And guys, if you were with me 2 years ago, I did a segment with Yahoo Finance. And I was, I was already calling myself the most bullish bear. And I was like, I can't be bearish in a market that's about to explode another 100% from here. It's very difficult because it's all about rockets, robots, space, quantum AI, and chips. And we just got started. This thing that we just entered, this AI, and they were talking about how it was a fad. It is definitely not a fad. They're saying how it got ahead of itself. It definitely has not got ahead of itself. We're about to blast off into a new industrial revolution of space, rockets, robots, quantum, AI, and chips. Space, rockets, robots is what we're doing now. All powered by AI, which is powered by the quantum, which needs the chips. Space, rockets, robots, quantum, AI, and chips is going to carry this market up 100% over the next 3.5 years. And I truly mean that because I know people I have to keep qualifying that. But I thought you were a bear. I am. And that's why I'm super bullish right now, because everything that used to be bearish is no longer bearish anymore. The corrections are sharper, but they're over quicker. The pullbacks don't exist. We're just consolidating for another massive move up. So while we're waiting for that massive move up, right? If the Qs are going to 1,040 in 3 years, that's great. How are you going to make money today? Right. So what you do on a daily basis is you take this trade that works every time it shows up. So let's talk about that. So first of all, is anybody buying ANF today? Did anybody take this trade? I know a few people did. Actually, I think I'm just talking to me, Spence. Is this up and running? Make sure this is working. You guys hear me on the YouTube show? You guys hear me on those other websites? Check 1 2 1 2. Okay, that's a good start. All right. All right, cool. All right, first of all, you all know we're in a bull market, right? It's never going to end, right? And these trades do work better. And the one I'm showing you they work better when the market's in rip your face off mode, which it still is. And by the way, we're supposedly heading into that seasonal weakness. Sure. That seasonal weakness might have been just last Wednesday, and now it's over. But this trade, reason it's so fantastic is that it transcends all market environments. And I'm welcoming the volatility because you get more reversals when the market's volatile, because that's exactly what a reversal is. It's volatility. You're getting a stock that's gapped up, that's getting smashed. And then from being smashed, you're getting a stock that's rallying. That's volatility. You want more volatility. You don't want trades like MDB where it's just going sideways. We had one chance to short it, which we took, and it was decent because it did exactly what I thought it would do. And I didn't cover it all down here because I'm thinking, here we go. We're going to break down and possibly fall 10 points. And then immediately turns and I breaks over VWAP and I get out of whatever I got left. Because I let the market tell me what to do, especially if I'm playing a fade, which is a short trade. You know, you're shorting the stock that's gapped up because it's breaking VWAP. And usually that creates a nice little down move. It did, and it was all right. You know, you got your 5 points out of it, but you got to get out. And now we've attempted to short it one more time, immediately got out for a small loss, and it's been a stinker ever since. The stock doesn't want to go down. So what do you do about it? You ignore it. Now, this trade I want to bring to your attention because we might be looking to take the other side of it right this second. So here's a trade. This is a beautiful trade. So Box, anybody know what they do? Who cares? Exactly. Right? We don't care what these companies do. We don't even care what business model they have, if they have a business model at all. Did they report earnings? They did. Are stocks that are gapped up susceptible to selling? They are. When are they susceptible to selling? If they're gapped up in the pre-market and they break VWAP near the open. Well, what do you know? Look who's breaking VWAP at the open, a stock that reported earnings that's breaking VWAP. And then look where it goes, to the prior day VWAP, as if it was rigged to go there, because it is. So what I'm demonstrating here is the rigging of the market, because the market over the last decade, 15, 20 years even, they've been programming it, right? Quant firms, high frequency trading, Ken Griffin, Citadel, stop hunting programs, algorithms. They run the market now. Most of these trades are pre-programmed. And what are they programmed around? VWAP. So every day as we sit here and I do this commentary with you, we prove it that these prices are more significant than any prices that are out there on a daily basis. And you'll start to notice that they're more important on a daily, 2 days, 5 days, weekly, monthly, yearlies. And like I've been finding all these monster ideas like my RR coming out of a very specific VWAP break. And if, you know, I won't talk about my swing trades until I'm done with this conversation, but everything's working right now and everything's based on VWAP and price. So this trade right here, right? Perfect. Box, gapped up. What is it? Doesn't matter. You smash it. And the short worked, right? And you got paid. And then it broke back over that level right there. And for me, the short's over because I cover on the way down. And then where levels get broken back on the way up, I have to cover here. So right there, the trade was over for me. Sure, it went down again and now it's chopping around. But now I look at it as a possible VWAP break on a stock that reported earnings that has already sold off. So the longs were getting paid. They cashed out. And as they're cashing out, the shorter got paid. We did. Now the stock's consolidating between yesterday's VWAP and today's VWAP. Breaks back over today's VWAP. You got a reason to buy the stock. As a matter of fact, right now, the longs who are in it already are looking at this. And let me remind you, this looks like the BJ trade, which didn't work. Normally, what we want to do is we want to see the VWAP break, come back and test it from on top to convince us that the buyers are now in control. Right now, the posture of this stock looks like we're about to break. So you're only risking 12 cents, or I guess if you're buying at 13.16, your first area of concern would be the whole number. All right, so you're going to look at it 32 as maybe a stop. Even if you're buying, let's say 300 shares, what I like doing is I usually use 3 stops if I can. So in this situation, right, you're kind of anticipating a VWAP break, right? Looks good. So let's say you're in it. Your first stop's the whole number. The second stop would be that prior pullback, and then your mighty, mighty prior day VWAP. So there's your risk. And then with every trade, you got to put the risk. You want to, well, what am I risking? All right, so I'm risking a total of 16 plus 16. I mean, 16 plus 6, you're risking 82 cents total. And then your reward, what you're hoping for, is it breaks the VWAP and then retraces back to where it came from. So you're looking at $1.25. Not the greatest looking setup, but the reason I'm bringing it to your attention is that when you miss a trade that's wonderful on the downside, quite often you get to take the other side of that trade later that day, like the ANF, right? ANF was a wonderful, fantastic, amazing short, but I missed it completely. 1 minute multi-day VWAP destruction. Don't miss it on the way up, and I missed it on the way up. And I'll explain why I missed this trade, because I was too busy futzing around with my swing trade here on RR. By the way, if you don't know RR, let me just check on it for a second. I might have to lighten up at 350, by the way. I don't want to get too crazy, but I really think this thing's going to 5, but it's up huge this week. Huge. And if anybody's swinging trading the mob, I bought more. I'm not selling this stock. It's very thinly traded. I expect it to fall $1 any day. That's what it does. I'm going to buy more. The stock's $1 away from all-time highs. I just want to keep reminding you that I've been talking about these stocks for months, right? These are not brand new ideas, but I still like them all. And if you're in them, congratulations. And if you don't know what the mob does, the mob is an Israeli drone company, and their business is blowing up terrorists. And literally, business is a booming. Mobilecom for the win. And guys, you want to see a nice chart? Here's the mob. Here's a lifetime chart of the mob. And you will see what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a stock that was a pump and dump, left for dead. Andy Dufresne, this is the reason we started liking it once before at $1.50. We got paid, rolls over and dies. We're thinking it's the end of it. Next thing you know, comes out of that pattern again. So we bought it again at $2 and sold some at 270, sold some at 375. I'm not selling any more of it, and I will buy it all back, because if it breaks all-time highs, you're right there. And for a bringer of death, the all-time high is 666. Something very demonic about this. I love it. I love it. I love that the high is 666. Anyway, let's go back to the ANFs and your boxes. Hey, look, the box trade already working for you. That's nice. But if you stay focused, and again, that's my motivation today, to make sure you understand, if you just stay focused on earnings reports, and I'm not even just talking about today, the following day, you want to see a wonderful chart? PDD, right? Reported earnings a couple of days ago, right? PDD, right? Reported a couple of days ago. Stock went nuts. We crushed on the way down. Then, just like the ANF, crushed it on the way down. Loving the faux show, bro. 1 minute multi-day VWAP collision. Got paid on the upside. And that was our wonderful day on PDD. Kenny, what happened on the next day after they reported earnings? Good thing that you just asked that question, because I love staying focused on stocks that report earnings. Look at this monstrous move in the pre-market, only then to break VWAP at 937, go through the multi-day. I heard this trade works every time. There it is, the 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal trade on a stock that's in play. And again, that's why I like looking at stocks that report earnings, not just the day of they report, the next day, because there's residual activity from their earnings day. And oh, dear Lord, was there. So look at this entry. You're shorting the stock at 130.5 with a 2.5 point risk. You're starting to cover here at 128.50 already, and then it just plummets. 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal on a stock that's in play, earnings. This trade continues to work. And if you only take these trades, even when you lose, like this MDB, right? On the second one that we lost on. Why'd we lose? Because it never broke VWAP, right? We shorted it there. We're expecting it to roll over, and then it never rolled, and it starts to break back above VWAP. Quickly get the hell out. Your entry point is pretty good. So when you're wrong, and again, this didn't break our streak of winning trades here, because the classic one, you got to get through the orange line as well. We're nowhere near there. This was just a chop. But it all starts with the chop. You still got to take that trade because you're hoping that it does roll over. And the second move, I was anticipating it to break down and, tank 20 points. And when it doesn't cooperate, you say, well, screw you. I'm out. Take my 70-cent loss and move on. And so far, it's been a good choice to avoid this thing because it obviously doesn't want to go down. And, some traders on our site today are shorting the 285 high because you see it's stuck in the channel. So if you're shorting at 285 and playing the 2-point pullback, yeah, but you better be, taking that quick profit because this legitimately does not want to go down. I mean, it's been 2 hours and it's just sitting here. Sometimes they just, nobody wants to take profit. Nobody wants to sell. Nobody's buying any more of it. It just goes sideways. So while I got you here, we could talk about this market. And if you haven't seen my podcast, we do a little bit about that. My podcast is called The Trader's Edge with my new buddy, Chris, otherwise known as the Godfather or Don Corleone on Twitter and StockTwits. And he brought a whole bunch of stocks to my attention, which I got to go over with you guys sooner or later. A sector I'm not too familiar with, which are nuclear stocks, and the charts all look good. So let's talk about some more of these trades, right? So you got Kohl's, right? Now, again, our default is to short stocks that are gapped up on earnings. I think you all know about Kohl's, right? I actually had a short squeeze a couple of weeks ago. It was a great short. So today, I look to short it, right? And just like the MDB, I waited for the VWAP break, got short 1593, stock went to 1550. You know what that is right there? That is a day trading payday. Basically 16 to 1550, you're getting paid, and then as it U-turns, you cover what you got left because you don't want to let stocks break back over the VWAP because they usually will be on the way to faux show broing you. Now, in this case, kind of fooled you. Fooled you once, fooled you twice. But you see where it broke under the VWAP and then tested it finally from underneath and couldn't break? Now the shorter has the upper hand. And if you are still short, you need to still be short because you have to see if it breaks now the new low. And then you got that pre-market area where it looks like you're going to head down to. And again, $15.35 stock, breaking the lows of the day. What do you think is going to happen? It's probably going to go to 15 bucks. So if you are still shorting Kohl's, nice re-entry. I'm not in it. So what you got thinking about Nvidia? I'm going to say muted response to a blowout number. Only up 4. I'm going to say 185 close tomorrow night. They report tonight. Probably tax on 4. Now, I want to tell you what I think is going to happen. Oh, wait, not think. This is what I hope. And if my son, fuckhead, that he is, my son, if you're listening, here, let's have this conversation out loud so nobody can tell me. And you know what? I'm going to record this conversation. Ready? Let me wait till the recording starts. Okay. So, about a month ago, I was leaving town. And it was the worst possible moment to leave because I wasn't going to be around for the Apple earnings day. So Apple reported earnings on a Thursday, and I wasn't going to be around Friday. So I told my son, my God, if Apple is gapped up and becomes an earnings reversal, the whole market's going to tank because Apple basically is a market controlling stock. I don't think that's going to happen, but my God, if it does, you better be ready for it and short the shit out of the Apple and the QQQ. And my son reported back to me, I was so amazed that it was happening that I didn't put the trade on. I didn't think it was going to happen. Not here to think. So what I'm telling you right now, and I'm talking to you, Ryan, talking to everybody in here, if NVIDIA is gapped up tomorrow, right? You think this market, you right? We're going into seasonality. There's plenty of people who think we're about to sell off. Wouldn't it be perfect if it was an Apple moment where Apple's gapped up, everyone's feeling bullish and complacent, blah, blah, blah. We never go down, and suddenly NVIDIA starts to break VWAP. Next thing you know, it's a prior day VWAP break. You're going to sit there looking at it? No, you're going to short it. And not only are you going to be shorting NVIDIA, you're going to short the hell out of the Qs because if NVIDIA rolls over, you're going to get yourself a wonderful sell-off, fantastic sell-off that's going to last probably more than 7 minutes. So I'm telling you right now, if you've ever wanted to put an aggressive short on, you see NVIDIA gapped up 4 points, and next thing it's only up 2, and it's below VWAP, and you got prior day VWAP nearby, and it starts breaking prior day VWAP. Like I said, not only should you be shorting NVIDIA, it's going to take the whole market down with it. So tomorrow could be the catalyst, even on a good number. If that good number, if the market decides to sell off NVIDIA on the good report, which we all know it's going to be a blowout number, it's going to be sick. You know it is, but it's about how the market reacts to it. So if it's a sucker gap that gets quickly sold off into, and you get yourself a 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal, and I'm saying, let's say we're gapped up to 184, 185, today's blue line and orange line will be up near where the stock is. So tomorrow's, well, we should ask our resident algorithmic mathematician genius where the prior day VWAP will be, because he knows where it's going to be tomorrow, because that's what he does, Solid Jello. So if you guys are here, I'll let my screen run, but Solid will be here. I'm not going to be here tomorrow morning to enjoy this wonderful moment. That's why we're having this conversation. If NVIDIA rolls over tomorrow, it's going to take the whole market with it. Don't be afraid tomorrow, if NVIDIA is selling off, to short the Qs. Yes, you have permission to short the Qs. And it could be incredible. We could get ourselves one of those, 8 to 10 point sell-offs. And again, that's all it's going to be, because generational lows are still in. You all know that. The market's never going into a downtrend. That doesn't exist anymore. But you give us an 11, 12 point sell-off on the Qs, we should make enough money to coast our way right through September and somewhat into October. And considering I'm not going to be here for it and I'll be on an airplane, it's perfect. Because shit like that happens when I have no access to enjoy it. Just like the Apple trade last month when I was on the road. I'm going to be literally on an airplane at the open tomorrow after NVIDIA reports tonight. So the setup is here, my friends. And if you're thinking, man, this guy really thinks the market revolves around him, it does. Anybody that's been a part of my chat room, you know I'm telling the truth. Crazy shit happens when I have no access to the internet. So be ready. Because you get a gap up that fails, it's going to take everybody. Are you listening, son? So if the Qs are at 574, up 2 and change, and they start breaking VWAP, what are you supposed to do? Buy the options. You're immediately buying 1 point out of the money, and then buy lotto tickets, 5 points out of the money, 100 of them. You hear what I'm saying? Buy 10 at the money, 100 5 points out of the money. Because if I'm right and we do roll over, we're going down at least 10 points. So you're talking about tomorrow's options. Obviously, they'll all be different prices. But here, for instance, where are we at? The Qs. So 572s, you want to buy the 572s to make sure you make something, and then go like 4 points out of the money, and you're talking usually, 30 or 40 cents, 100. Put up $4,000 on the trade. Because if we're right and we do tank and we do go down, let's say we go to 465, and you're sitting there with 100 contracts at 469 at 50 cents, and they go to $4, that's $5,000 turn into 40 grand. And that's a nice day. And then you could buy some RR and not think about it, right? Buy yourself 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 shares of the mob, watching it go to 666 and then 100. By the way, new highs on the mob, people. You guys are in the SRAD with me, right? I've only been talking about it for 6 months. We're up 10 points now on the trade. Come on, bull market. You guys know, hey, that stock that just went by, I want to show you something here. See this IPO? It's one of the only, IPOs have done really well this year. This one has not. Don't forget about the stock, right? Wherever they drag it down to, inevitably this is going to have 100% run. How do I know that? Because every freaking stock this year has. So let them bleed it to death. Let them crush it. Let people think it's going to zero. Because when this thing turns, it's going to double. Because that's what stocks do in 2025. But right now, I mean, this is these last 2 days, these last 3 days, they've been pretty nice and boring. We got what we came for, and then there really hasn't been much to do. I freaking love days like today because I feel like I've done everything I could do right, and I'm not missing out on anything because we all have that FOMO. You ain't missing nothing lately. First hour and a half has been pretty awesome, and then we've been getting some sideways chop. You try to avoid the chop. You try to avoid churning your account. Keep those profits, and tomorrow's a brand new day. And I'm hearing there's going to be some important earnings tonight. Tomorrow's going to be awesome. And if we do get some volatility tomorrow, Friday's going to be even sicker. Right? So if it turns out exactly what we did on Apple, Apple reported, Apple reversed, we had that sell-off, and then we gapped up the next day, and then we had that great residual sell-off right at the open, and you got paid again on the short. And it was pretty awesome, that Thursday, Friday sell-off. And we haven't had any real selling since. So I'm hoping that's what happens. And now you guys have an idea of what I think is going to happen. And now you just wait to see if it does happen. So a lot of stuff has to come true. I got to get a good report, a gapped up stock, and that's got to fail to hold the gap, break the VWAP, prior day VWAP, start rolling over, and then you crush everything. Insane asylums? Yeah, who doesn't like insane asylums, right? Prisons. This stock got way. I remember this thing was a penny stock. Yeah, it looks like it's broken right now. You see how you broke down under that prior, almost like a triple bottom, and now you've tested that area from underneath. Yeah, that don't look good. Looks like you're headed back down to that other area from what was the breakout from back in the day, like 18 bucks. But if you're trading it today, it's a different story usually. And no, I'd be a seller today too, but that was that was actually a faux show, bro. Nice little winner on that. Not a lot of volume, but RR. Yeah, there's your faux show, bro. VWAP break. There you go. And that is the only reason to trade in the afternoons. When you see a stock that you missed in the beginning of the day, and then you get a faux show, bro, under the VWAP, that gives you another chance to buy it. Just like whatever the hell that stock was yesterday. I forgot what it was, but we had this, THAR, the THAR. From, I guess it was 3 days ago. Here, and this is another thing about this pattern that I talk about. It shows up repeatedly, right? So here, THAR, yeah, the faux show, bro, holds prior day VWAP, monster move, right? You missed it, right? It went from $5 to $9, insane. But then look what it does. Faux show, bro, prior day VWAP hold. Look, it's the same exact look. See that? You see it? You see how it absolutely replicates? Look, there it is. Faux show, bro. Wee. Faux show, bro. Faux show, bro. And then that one, right? Middle of the day, when you get a stock that's gone parabolic and it faux show bros, usually these parabolic stocks, they break VWAP, they break prior day VWAP, and then they go to zero because they're all pump and dump dog shit stocks, right? But when they don't break down and you get a faux show, bro, VWAP break, buy it. Don't even think about it. What is it? Doesn't matter. Buy it. And we got paid. And then look, faux show, bro, you got paid again, right? So just like the RR just did, right? If you miss the parabolic move or whatever the move, and then you get a chance at something that faux show, bros, VWAP break, you take the trade. And then hopefully you get back above the range and all that here. But not a bad entry. And also another thing about the stock is that these areas now, if it rolls over and breaks through the VWAP and breaks back below there, you know you got to sell it, and then you got that little double bottom area, which I'm planning to hold this stock for more days. You know, I top tick my way out of some of it. There is no way I'm getting out of the whole trade. Unless something absolutely horrifying happens, which would be a 293. Under 293, I don't even know if I'm going to put a stop there. I don't even want to imagine it going to under 293 today. But the way I stay in these swing trades is I just use extended VWAP. So 3 days worth of VWAP. Usually I'll look at 5 days. So basically 289. And that usually keeps you in the trades. But I'm really enjoying these last 3 or 4 days, because normally I just live with lots of regret every day, and it starts to weigh on me because I'm a seller into moves, and then they keep going and going and going, and then I have nothing left, and I'm just sitting there wanting all day. Kind of why I hate bull markets. But when we have some volatility and a little back and forth, I don't feel as, I don't feel like left out as much. And I'll tell you, the one time I held on, my other trade today was the NEGG, and I hope you guys were crushing this with me over the last couple of days. We shorted at 129.50 when I was with you a couple of days ago. I told you where the stock was going, at least to 65, and here we are. But this morning, I saw it doing this. Faux show bro. So I bought it. And I bought it late. I bought the 67.10 break, and I'll show you. And this is a good conversation also. So you see where the VWAP break is at 64? That's where you normally want to buy something. Fake out, shake out, buy the VWAP break. The reason this trade is so awesome is that you're getting the VWAP break generally before the reversal. The reversal is just when a stock goes green. So it opens at 64.20. It went green at 67. So that's the reversal part. You got the VWAP first. So you're getting a VWAP trade. The reversal trade's all we used to take back in the 90s. Stock went from red to green or green to red. We would just join in and usually get a follow-through move. Here you're getting in on these trades before the reversal even happens. But in this case, I bought the 67 break, got done at 67 and a quarter. It ripped to $72. And before I had a chance to even sell it, it went right back down to 69. I tried selling it at 69. Nobody wanted it. I tried selling it at 68. Nobody wanted it. And I wound up getting stopped out for a 25-cent gain at 67.50. So I was up $500 for basically, I would say, 10 seconds. And I wound up only making $50 on the trade when I was up 500. So, but you know what? Selling it wasn't a bad choice, because, it's okay to be disappointed. Don't let it turn into a bad trade. And that's what usually happens. You're, oh man, I should have sold it there. All right, I'm going to hold on to it. Nah. Disappointed, just cut it free. By the way, this is reporting earnings on the 28th also. So tomorrow morning or tomorrow night. This one will be in play. Hopefully it's gapped up 1,000 points, and then you should short it again, because this stock it's worthless. It's worthless. And it went from 3 to 140. I don't know why nobody was really talking about this stock, but when I saw that chart, that's when my bearishness takes over. I'm like, no way am I not watching this for the next couple of days to short the shit out of it. And nailed it. I mean, only small lots. I'm not didn't make $20 million on a trade, but it's nice to be right and get paid. And I think if they gap it up on earnings and it rolls over, you're going to see the stock at 40 and then 0. If it even gaps up on earnings, because it's going to be a fake report anyway. It's a garbage company. And that's my story. I gotta cut out of here a little early today. I gotta spruce up, headed down to the stock exchange. If anybody's in the city, I'll see you there. Should be fun. Gonna hang out with the VWAPian Jay Wood on the floor. Loves himself some VWAP. And then, like I said, tonight's the NVIDIA earnings. The earnings are coming out tonight on NVIDIA. And it should be very exciting next 48 hours. And all that stuff about the market going down and NVIDIA rolling over. Don't forget the first part of the sentence. If, right? Chances are none of that's going to happen because the market doesn't go down anymore. So it's a big if. And that's what again, if I'm right and NVIDIA does start to roll over, then you think about putting that short on. But right now, status quo. This market does not want to go down. And it's virtually impossible to make money shorting the market. You can play some fades, but make sure you're, nimble. And remember rule number 1 of shorting. Shorting is short-lived, and you're going to die. All right? I'll see you guys Tuesday, I guess, right? I'm going to try to figure out a way to get in here on my phone. I should be able to figure it out just to root you on if, I don't know, my son will put the screen up. By the way, Q's new highs while we're sitting here. Of course, they're hitting new highs. It's basically trying to remind me right here as I'm talking about looking to short the Q's tomorrow. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Okay. Yeah, good luck with that. But this is what I'm hoping for. I want to see the market go up as high as possibly can. So the rollover will be that much more intense. So, yeah, bring it. All right? You guys got your plan for tomorrow? Hopefully, I'll see you guys somehow. If not, have a great weekend. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Be safe. Don't get too hungover. We got a lot to work to do following next week. All right? Thanks for being here. And I am outie.